Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going back to the christened horseshoe raceway. But with the twist, we're actually going to beat the lap record, but not so good in the end. You'll see what I mean. And I must apologize for the delay between this one and this video and the last video. There's been some setup changes on my side, and probably here I got a new mic. So I've been fiddling around with that, trying to get that right, and my editing software also gave out. So a couple of things, but the gap should be getting smaller from now. So hopefully you enjoy. Leave a comment as what you'd like to see next, and let's get into it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to hop straight in to get to know your kart part. And summary of the kart: the tires were absolutely cold, the brakes were cold, the kart was cold, so I just had to warm it up a little bit, as also the track was cold because I went on a late night and no one had been there the rest of the day, so everything was still cold. Everything was brand new though, so that felt good. But I was basically alone for the session. I was left out by myself, but I was with someone. There's a good gentleman who went with me who works there, and he was properly fast, and I'll explain as to why he was so fast, because I actually asked him at the end of the session. But he was properly fast. He had good consistency and he was good on the brakes. I struggled to keep up with him sometimes. Good competition, I must say. So the session was actually very good for my consistency pace. I was constantly under 20 seconds. My highest was actually 19.8, and that was on my in lap for the last lap to come into the pits. So it was a very good session to work on my consistency, but unfortunately, because I had free air, I was pushing quite hard, and my left hip was actually taking skin off, because that first hairpin, you'll probably see during the video, I actually hopped coming out of the corner because my tires weren't quite ready and the track was also very cold. But also I think it was due to me putting too much stress through the tires, trying to get onto the power too quickly. So a number of factors doing it, but it hurt quite a bit. And also the last hairpin, I was also struggling to get right. Coming into that straight, you have to get it quite nicely out on the exit so that you have a good run onto that long straight per se, and I was struggling to get that correct. But the gentleman was doing it very well, because he kept pulling away from me there, first hairpin and the third hairpin, but I was catching him on the second hairpin. So pretty good, but I need to still work on the angles. So at this point I actually just let him go through, because I wanted to see where I was losing so much time to, because he was catching me fairly fast, and I just let him go past and I just trail him. I just follow him through the corners, and I figure out exactly where he's pulling away, and he pulls away a lot in the first hairpin and the third hairpin. I'm losing a lot of time there. I think it's because he's a lot more confident on the brakes, and also he's a little bit lighter than me. But mostly because he's a lot more smooth than I am. And that will come with time, but it just shows you how much time you lose from not being smooth. So at this point during the session, it was literally just about maintaining the gap that the gentleman opened up, because he stopped there by the pits, I assumed, to just quickly fix something. And I was trying to maintain the gap as much as possible, and it was for a good while. I actually did maintain it. But as the session went on and my hip started to really get sore, I started to lose concentration, and the gap just came down. I couldn't maintain it anymore. So I learned next time I'll have some cushioning, but it was good to know that I could actually keep up with this guy, who was actually extremely professional. at this point of the session, my hip is totally gone now. I can't maintain the gap anymore. But my work is done. I beat the lap record. I set a time of 18.5 and he set a time of 18.3. So I beat the lap record by 0.2 of a second, and then he goes and beats my lap record by 0.2 of a second. How about the irony of that, eh? So now there's a new lap record for me to beat, because the previous one was 18.7. So I had the lap record for about 2 seconds before he did it. But the reason he got it was because he does this every day. He goes out on the track and he goes out and practices every day. So I don't feel quite embarrassed as I would have, but still, I should have been beating him, but oh well. So leave a comment as to what you would have done differently, and tell me if you enjoyed the video, and let's catch you in the next one.